Hey, greetings everyone, it's GleeCon, and we are back again, bringing you another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you, as always, so much for tuning in. On our last episode, we really got Silverpine Forest kicked off. We killed some werewolves, we rescued the Deathstalkers, we started working on poison for the Forsaken. We got referred to as a Forsaken, so apparently eyesight, one of the first things to go in Unlife. So we're going to jump back into that, stay a while, and listen as we take Gleek and Soul back into our World of Warcraft Classic walkthrough, every quest covered in the game. Now, the last thing I actually think that we did was we did a Hearthstone here to Orgrimmar, and there is a little bit of housekeeping that we have to do today because we did hit level 20. 20 is a kind of a milestone that we've been approaching for some time, so we really have to look over at our class quests and address all of the different things. Nothing happens at 20 if you're a druid, nothing if you're a hunter, nothing if you're a mage. We've covered the level 20 quest line already as a paladin, so that's 4 of the 9 right there we've covered. We do have to look at, there's a single quest that you get at level 20 as a priest, and we're going to kind of start looking at these right now. So on this episode, we are, if nothing else, we're going to cover all these. We're also going to start the shaman quest line, which we'll talk about in a minute. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess there are 5 different races of the 8 races that can be priest, and I'm trying to think which ones can't. Tauren can't, Gnome can't, and what am I forgetting? Maybe Orc can't. Yeah, so the other 5 races can all be priest. So let's kind of look at those. So the first one's called A Lack of Fear. And this is, let's see what race gets to do A Lack of Fear. So this is the dwarf. Oh, and this is why dwarf priest is the most sought after priest, because of the fear ward spell. So this is just epic. Pretty much all end-game raid priests, like especially on Alliance, they want those dwarf priests. And I don't think this exists in retail. I don't think they have these race-specific things. Because if you think about it, it actually ultimately does depress the value of the game. It inspires, by having one ability that's so much more useful in game than the others, inspires people to make a ton of dwarf priests. But then you're making that for the mechanic instead of making something your own that you really love because of the way it looks. So this happens in Ironforge. You've got the makings of a great priest, dwarf. Keep up the good work. You've already shown you're ready for battle. Perhaps it's time we taught you a little something more. You'll get Fear Ward. Now what this does, it's an insta-cast that you can cast within a 30-yard range, so on other people as well. It wards the target against fear. The next fear effect used against the target will fail using the ward, and it lasts 10 minutes. And it doesn't say you can only have one, so you could blanket the entire party in a fear ward, granting them freedom from one fear effect, and you could constantly just keep that going. Oh, it has a 30-second cooldown. I see. But that means with smart usage, you could blanket the party over the course of 20 minutes. I mean, you can get 20 people covered for an effect within that 10 minutes if you knew it was going to be happening. That's it though. There's no, there's nothing else. No flavor text to the quest. Okay, the next one is called Arcane Feedback. So let's look for who gets to learn that. So Arcane Feedback is a priest class for humans. You get the feedback spell. We know this because we had this on Callie. This happens, it says this happens in, I guess the High Priest can give it to you. But really, you could pick it up in Stormwind City. It says it starts there. There's probably more than one version, so probably each of the capitals can give you this quest and tell you, go speak to this person. As much as I'd like... Oh, okay, so there are some different text descriptions. So if we were, for instance, were to go back to the one we were just at, A Lack of Fear, there's probably 3 versions of that as well. So there's the one that we clicked on, speak to the priest. This is already the one that gives you. So if you are in Stormwind, then this person will say, Your high priest Rohan would have an audience with you in Ironforge. Make haste, my strong friend, your next test quickly approaches. Although I wish I could bear witness to your race's own special rights, my place is here, but may the light go with you in your travels. Rohan should still be in the Mystic Ward once you reach the city. He'll be waiting, and then he'll say, "It's good you've come. Our race is proud and strong, and it's time you learn to not only be so yourself, but to invoke such emotion and confidence in others. You prepared, lad or lassie?" Whereas if you are in Darnassus, when you get this quest, it will say, "Your race is so very strong. We are proud to call you allies. And as each day's sun sets, you and your kin grow closer to not only finding your true origins, but find great confidence that you're on the right path in so many things. That feeling must make you feel so triumphant. Word came from Ironforge just recently and asked that you return there and speak to High Priest Rohan in the Mystic Ward. I would not keep him waiting. May Elune guide your travels. It's good you've come." Yeah, so then the completion is the same. So that's a little interesting tweak. So in fact, we'll be looking at 15 quests just to get through this one quest, which is why I think these lists get so pared down, especially at the higher levels. Okay, now we'll look at arcane feedback. We've covered the dwarf path. Now let's look at the human path. Okay, so there are, of course, 3 quests. So the human one, if you just are human and you go to Stormwind to get your quests, we were forced to learn some magics to protect us from what is commonly called our greatest enemy, the arcane. I would teach you a spell to help you defend yourself and your companions from those who would wield such power. So this is a specific anti-mage. That's something I guess that the humans get. Rest on there. I can have it. Okay, so 3-minute cooldown. So used less frequently. Costs a little bit more mana. The priest becomes surrounded with anti-magic energy. Any successful spell cast against the priest will burn 18 of the attacker's mana and do that much damage. Last 15 seconds. And I'm sure that scales as you level up. 18 mana burn would not be that much. My guess would be it gets more powerful as you level up. So it's just, yeah, that's almost like a PvP thing, really. It's just a shield against... so I'm assuming we'd have to go look at Cali to see if it's still 18, but probably not. All right, now if you were in Ironforge, they would say, "As much as I'd like to show you our own special techniques of the light, it's not our place. Your place is back in Stormwind with your own kind for now. Believe me, I mean no offense. When you return to High Priestess Lorena and the Cathedral of Light, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The time has come for your race to prepare you for the future, to separate yourself from others that follow a similar path." You have wonderful timing. I was beginning to wonder if all of my messengers had been successful. I'm glad to see they were, otherwise I would wager you'd still be out in the world learning more about all the threats that exist against our people. Are you ready? Ready for more training, I mean. You're growing in your power more quickly, and I feel you're ready to learn more about our faith. And if you were in Darnassus, they would say, "It's time for you to return to Stormwind, young one. Your superiors have called you back for more training, and although it disturbs me some, your race and mine are allies, and I would not betray that." Wow, whole different relationship between the night elves and the dwarves versus the humans. "I do not mean to be so coy with you. My distrust of arcane magics, be they divine inspired or not, is still strong within me. You'll know what I speak of after you return to your Cathedral of Light. Speak to High Priestess Lorena when you arrive." Yeah, so I guess the fact that this magic has to do with arcane. Now, this is why this one's so much more useful. One, I believe it only applies to yourself. Right, it only applies to you. And in most raids, you're not going to be the target of threat. So you only if for whatever reason, as a healer, you drew threat from a caster, and then all you're doing is draining a little bit of that caster's magic. And that's probably not going to be noticeable enough to matter, and doing a little bit of damage. It's just soloing in PvE. It has a little bit more use, but yeah, way less useful as an overall spell. Okay, Devouring Plague. That's probably the Forsaken one if I had to guess. Plague wrong. Okay, this could be a spell, but it's also a quest. So let's look at quests. All right, so we have boom, boom, boom. Okay, so the main one, this is, yes, if you are a Forsaken, it's been wanting to show me that basketball finals. It catered its ads to me, and they don't realize that my heart's already broken about that. I would teach you Devouring Plague if you feel you are prepared. A spell of no small power. It will aid you in your coming battles. Practice with it. There will be tests later. So not a lot of lore about the Devouring Plague if you go to the Horse's Mouth. So this is a 215 mana, the most expensive one so far. A 3-minute cooldown. Affects the target with a disease that causes 152 shadow damage over 24 seconds. Damage caused by the Devouring Plague heals the caster. So this is good, I would guess, if you're a Shadow Priest, because it's just one more dot you can stack on there. So really not too shabby if you're going to be a Shadow Priest. The 3-minute cooldown's a little bit lame, but the damage looks to be decent, and it probably scales. So, in my opinion, better than Feedback. Come on, get off the NBA Finals. We're not. All right, now let's see. If you were a Troll Priest that then picked this up in Orgrimmar, it would say, Athalist, show our people great respect by sending them back to me for more training. So now I do the same for her tribe. You return to the Undercity. There in the War Quarter, she be ready to teach you more about your people and their ways. Go there and do not wait long. Good you've returned and not a moment too late. We have great things to discuss. Your abilities are growing stronger, and we must make sure you are ready. Okay. And finally, if you were a Tauren, if you happened to be in the Tauren capital, they would say, a wonderful day for you. I can see by the lessons you've learned that the time has come to send you back to Elthaliste. I don't know how to say it. Althalist. There are things only she can teach you, and even then, only if you prove worthy. So, who is teaching you this? Miles Welsh? That's probably underground in the little forgotten pools. I will not spoil the surprise for you, but I remember when I was a young priest learning about true power, divine power. Yes, those were the days. Go back to Althalist in the Undercity. She'll be awaiting you in the War Quarter. Okay, so we have 3 of the races done. Let's kind of take a peek at Elun's Grace. Well, we know this is going to be the Night Elf version. Okay, it says there's 4 quests for this one somehow. Don't know why. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So this one right here is the main one. You are a Night Elf. You go to get the quest from your own capital city in the Temple of the Moon. By devoting yourself to Elun and our people, you have attained a state that not all of us can achieve. It is tradition that you then be taught even greater abilities for your devotion. Do you accept? And you would learn Elun's Grace. Only 60 mana, 5-minute cooldown. It's a buff that you cast on yourself that reduces range damage taken and increases your dodge percent by 10%. So, in a way, even worse than Arcane Feedback, because it's only for damage taken and your dodge chance. It's basically protecting you against missile attacks. Which outside of PvP, this is very minimal. Maybe some AoE stuff, but this is probably the weakest of the racial abilities. Kind of trash, to be honest. All right, now here's, I guess you can pick one, same one. It looks. It's just if you talk to a different priest, a wonderful day has come. You've reached the age in which our priests or priestesses are trained in abilities only night elves know, but it is not for me to train you. You must return to the Temple of the Moon and speak to Priestess Aletheia. Doesn't say where this started. As soon as your business here is concluded, she will test you to ensure you're prepared. Only then will she teach you Elun's Grace. Doesn't say where it starts. Just says the entirety happens in Darnassus. So maybe if a different priest punted you over. Okay. Now, if you're in Stormwind, they will say you know you have access to any of our trainers at any time, but there are some things that we cannot pass on to you. One of those things are the teachings of your goddess Elune. She gives special abilities to her faithful, and if I'm not mistaken, it is time for you to return home to your Temple of the Moon to be tested. Return there when you can and speak to Priestess Alethea. And then she will say, Elune bless you for returning so quickly to us. This is an important time in your training and a time that all of our order take very seriously. When you've rested from your journey here, please let me know. We can then discuss the continuation of your training, where your path will lead you next. And let's see. The final one happens in Ironforge. Time's a-wastin', lad or lass. It's time for you to return home to Darnastus. Priestess Alethea's sent word here that you're to return there for training. Seems they feel you're ready to be tested, much like those who serve the light. I mean, I think you're still serving the light. You should head out whenever you can. Alethea's message said that she'd be waiting for you in the Temple of the Moon. Good luck. Okay, so we have a final set, which would be the Troll. That's all that's left. Shadow Guard by process of elimination. The Trolls have a quest. All right, so... all right, we get it. When's it? Thursday? All right, so what do we have here? If you are a troll and you go right to Orgrimmar, your rights will come soon enough. For now, I teach you a spell that will be of great use to you when you do battle with your enemies. Very low level. So the quest is 50 mana, insta-cast, a shield you put on yourself. So 3 of the spells are shields you put on yourself. The caster is surrounded by shadows. When a spell, melee, or ranged attack hits the caster, the attacker will be struck for 20 shadow damage. Attackers can only be damaged once every few seconds. This damage causes no threat. 3 charges, 10 minutes. So essentially this is like Lightning Shield, which is why the picture is the same. So that's what it is. It's basically your version of Lightning Shield, except it does shadow damage instead of lightning damage. And I don't know if the mana, if the thing prepares, but that's actually pretty solid, because it has a 10-minute. It's just like Lightning Shield. So it just adds one more element in there. Now again, you have to be struck for this to happen. But almost all of the other ones require that too. So that's of those ones that affect only the priest, I like that one. Okay, so let's just look at the other 2 quests. Now, if you were in Thunder Bluffs, they would say something important is up in Orgrimmar. The normal messengers that come through here looking for troll priests usually are very casual. This time they seem to be in much more a hurry. Don't dally too long in Thunderbluff. I'd return to the Valley of Spirits as soon as possible. One of the most important rites of passage for a priest of our faith is upon us. I will explain more to you. You are ready. And finally, if you were in the Forsaken, like many of our own priests, your own tribe puts you through rites of passage. These rites often teach priests special abilities that are vital to their survival. I sense that time is upon you, even as we speak. You must return to the Valley of Spirits in Orgrimmar and speak to Urkio. What he teaches you might be very important for the future. All right. So if we were rating these priest quests, then I would say the best one you can see is the Fear Ward. You can automatically, you can see how you can blanket the whole party. You'd be able to see what are some of the potential uses that you can get out of that. And even if you're soloed, blanketing yourself with a protection against fear. Now, of course, it's specific only to fear effects. We're going to sell some of these things also. Oh, those are the shackles we needed. That's why. All right, so what's my attack? I'm looking at 11.8 damage with 6 stat buff. So this 8.5. Yeah, that dagger can go. Boom, boom. We need this leather. We've got to keep that. We've got lots of leather going on. 23 bracers. So we're just going to sell off. I'm at least just... We're just taking... Oh, should I have sold that belt? 33. Leather scraps. I can do something with that. This is mostly quest stuff, actually, or things that go with our job. Alright, so... Now, I'm going to go to the bank and stash that silver bar while we're right here also. So we have more quests. All we've done is looked at priests, and we have discussed the other 4. We've discussed 4 of the other ones, so we still have to look at 4.
Besides the grunts outside, my brothers and I fought at the Battle of Hyjal. Any who seek to steal from the bank must face us first.
Then how's our linen? We can make these heavy linen bandages. That could help us a little bit. Remember, we got to be at about 115. So the bandage parts they're not going to benefit us. At least we're at 100. I do not believe there's anything at 100, 101 or anything like that we can get. So let's go first over to the Valley of Spirits, right? Because I want to fish. Well, we can also fish in the Valley of Honor. So let's talk to a guard and find out where I think the shaman trainer is actually up here. Okay. So I do want to hit up. I mean, what do we need to do? We don't. Alright, I guess we'll go up the dragway. Let's see if there's any cooking we can do right now. Our cooking's actually in a pretty solid state. We have a high enough level that we could go get the next. Oh, but you know what we need to do? We need to fish before we do cooking. Yeah, I have it. So, that's what I'm going to kind of try to do for us here. I would like to break up this monotony. We're already a third of the way into the episode, but we knew this was coming. I knew 20 was going to be a kind of a big one. And since we are trying to, in some way, shape, or form, cover every single quest in the game, this comes with the territory. Every now and then we have to do a housekeeping like this. That's okay. And we will eventually make our way back to the Undercity. We have some quests to turn in there. I think it's a recipe for death. One of those. But we're going to get our fishing done. Luckily, we do not have a lot of fishing to do. We need to be at level 100 fishing, and we're at 95. So we're just going to pop our way right in here and fish in the pool in the Valley of Honor. I don't think there's anything else in the Valley of Honor that we need. We have all the weapon training necessary. We only need 5 points of fishing, so that's cool. We can go take a peek here at the fishing supplies at Lumux Fishing in case there's any recipes that we've neglected. Why not? I think our fishing trainer. Nothing we can do there yet.
Come learn fish, eat fish.
Already know Rainbow Fin Albacore, and we're a little bit too low to need rock scale cod. We don't even have the ability, so I'm not going to waste inventory spots with that now, but yeah, let's go ahead and fish. 5 points of fishing. This will get us a little bit of fish to cook too. And let's just take a peek at some quests in between each one. So we'll look and see what else we need to know. Balance this out. We don't need small fish. Alright, so let's go back over to the database. So we've already discussed Druid, Hunter, Mage, Paladin, Priest. That's 5 done. So rogues. Rogues there are. Luckily for us, it seems like it's a lot, but there's actually not a ton. So there's 2 versions for each, an Alliance and a Horde for each. So we're going to look at them. So we'll start by looking at the Shattered Salute. Okay, this is the first quest in the chain. Shattered Salute is a rogue quest. It can be this is the Horde rogue, and the goal is to it's a very easy one. Go into the Cleft of Shadows, perform that Shattered Salute. That's it. As a rogue of the Shattered Hand, it is imperative that you learn the Shattered Salute. I believe it's something like that. They put their hand up. It is the only way to truly identify another member of the hand. Watch, learn, repeat, practice, and basically you target them and you do the salute. Upon completion, well done. You are now ready to proceed. So it's very, very easy. It's just kind of opening quest line. Now, if you look, there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quests at 20. They're different. They make you do different things. I kind of like that Shattered Salute one, and I like that all Horde do the same one. So we'll look at, in this 5-step chain, what do you get from them? What's the point? What are the differences? We'll kind of look at that. but it's just by faction instead of by race like the priest has. So even though there are 5 quests as opposed to simply 1, and there's no, like, so Matthias and the Defias. So I guess this quest is cleverer now that they rhyme. Okay, so for this one, first in a 3-chain series, travel to Westfall and find Agent Kiernan for your debriefing. Not a moment too soon. SI-7 reconnaissance is reporting unusually heavy Defias activity in Westfall. It would seem that the Defias have taken over an abandoned Alliance watchtower southeast of Sentinel Hill and are using it as a base of operations to smuggle in goods from the Red Ridge supply route. Go to Westfall and contact Agent Kiernan for your debriefing. You'll find her hidden near the tower. And should you be discovered, SI-7 will disavow all knowledge of your existence. Matthias finally sent another agent to back me up, eh? Well, I hope he's ready to hear some bad news. So that's where you turn it in over here by this tower down here. It's a rogue-only tower. If you're not a rogue, you won't go there. So in Orgrimmar, you give the salute. Here, you have a breadcrumb that moves you over to Westfall. Okay, fair enough. We've also got one of our 5 points of fishing done. Yeah, we also, the Call of Water questline is long too. It's the third totem in the chain. It's probably the longest of the chains. Call of Fire is kind of long, but it's the last because wind is very easy. All right, so now we have Deep Cover or Claven's Tower. So we're going to look at Claven's Tower because we're already on this page first, the Alliance version. You have to steal the Defias Tower key, break into the Defias Tower, and uncover the contents of the Duskwood chest. Take whatever information you find back to Matthias Shaw and Stormwind. Read Kiernan's journal to gain insight about the tower. So let's take a peek at old Kiernan's journal. So if we just take a peek here, this is what it says. The guards of this tower seem to be especially weak to my attacks. As I was scouting the backside of the tower, a patroller spotted me and attacked. I was able to easily dispatch the guard with a timely gouge, followed by a backstab. I waited in hiding for her partner to come investigate the commotion. The patroller came towards the bushes where I had dragged the corpse and began a search. Slowly, carefully, I crept up behind him, not wanting my ambush to be discovered. When the opportunity was made available, I thrust my dagger into his backside. His lungs quickly gave way under the force of the attack as his corpse hit the ground with a dull thud. It had been such a fast and violent ambush that the poor fool did not even have time to scream in pain. Curiously, when I removed the blade from his backside, a foul odor leaked out of the perforated patroller. Maybe he's forsaken. It would appear that whatever it is that Claven has locked away in the chest is having adverse effects upon the inhabitants of the tower. I suspect that the other guards may have similar weaknesses, and perhaps even Claven himself has fallen victim to the fallout. This is from Agent Amber Kiernan, SI-7 ground level operative, R8, maybe rank 8. So basically, this quest line, it is very, very challenging, except the mobs have all of these specific weaknesses to moves. I've been staking out this tower for weeks. Recently, a major shipment came through from Duskwood, and along with it came those guards. Who are they? Your guess is as good as mine. I can tell you one thing, they aren't human. Anyhow, the shipment had a chest, which is what I assume those abominations are guarding. The zombie with the spikes holds a key we'll need. Get that key, get in the tower, uncover what's in that chest, take your findings back to Matthias. And when you do, he says, any news from Agent Kiernan? This would explain the Defias drones you and Kiernan saw outside of the tower. It would also explain the venture company's involvement with the Defias and the strange shipments out of Duskwood. According to this book, the Zanzil trolls and Stranglethorn have discovered a way to raise the dead through potions, or to be more specific, poison. You'll be of no use to SI-7 without a firm understanding of poisons, especially with the recipe to create undeath at our fingertips. So, you gain poisons, which is probably the most important rogue move, so absolutely necessary to do this quest. And you gain a recipe for thistle tea. If you've invested even a little bit into cooking, this is a great one because it with swift thistle. Now that's the only downside. That's not that common to get if you're not an alchemist. And some water, you can make this tea, which does increase your energy. It's actually a pretty decent one to have. It does mean that alchemy or herbalism at least is probably a pretty decent pairing with a rogue. Just as an FYI, although is it good enough of a thing when you could just buy Swift Thistle on the auction house? You could probably do that. Just live your life, or make an alchemist mule or herbalist, ferry the Swift Thistle over to your account that way. I only did 2 in a row. All right, so let's look at the Horde version, which is called Deep Cover. Okay, so I believe it's similar. Travel to the Venture Company Tower north of the Sludge Fen, which is up here, and contact the Shattered Hands covert operative taskmaster Fizul. When the tower is in sight, use the flare gun to signal your arrival to Taskmaster Fizul. I think he's like a dark iron dwarf or something. Fire off 2 flares, then approach Taskmaster Fizul and perform the Shattered Salute. These actions must be performed in the correct order, as Fizul will attack and terminate any person he does not recognize. I don't know if I remembered to fire off 2 flares when I did this, so I don't know if that's true. I think I did 1 flare and then the salute, but I might be wrong. The Venture Company, perhaps you've heard of them. For 1 year, we've worked on planting an agent deep within their ranks. Though through much hard work and careful planning, we succeeded. Recently, we received word that the Venture Co. are planning something on a grand scale. Go north of Sludge Fen to the Venture Co. Tower and contact our undercover agent Taskmaster Fizul. Yeah, you can see him. He's like a dark iron dwarf. When you find the tower, use the flare gun, then approach Fizul and show him the salute of the Shattered Hand. Yeah, see, I only used it once. I don't think you have to do it twice, even though it says that right there. It's good to see another agent in of the Shattered Hand in these parts. However, the flare may have been a little too much. Next time you need to speak with me, blow into this whistle twice. I don't know you're an ally. So basically, he'll swap out your flare gun for a little whistle that will... I guess it changes him from being either neutral or hostile into being friendly. I don't know. So we didn't do the hard part yet for step 2 for the Horde, so the steps are a little bit out of order. All right, and whereas with the Alliance, step 3 is called... Now we're moving to step 3. Actually, we'll just go ahead and do the Horde one. It is called Mission Possible but Not Probable. Now here's their tricky one. Okay, so they want you to steal Silix's tower key from Foreman Silix's, then kill 2 mutated Venture Co. drones, 2 Venture Co. patrollers, and 2 Venture Co. lookouts. Assassinate Grand Foreman Gallywix and take his head, then pick the lock on Gallywix's lockbox and steal the cache of Zanzil's altered mixture. Take the cache and Gallywix's head back to Shenthul and Orgrimmar for further instructions. So there's no journal that we have to read, it looks like, but they give you more explicit instructions. You will need to steal the tower key from Foreman Silix's name. So just like the other one, you're starting off, you need pickpocketing. Once you've got the key in your possession, hold on to it. I may need it later. Remember, the poison has weakened everything in this tower. Also, on both quests, you get poisoned with Zanzil's mixture. And you stay poisoned for a very long time unless you complete the chain for both. Use your abilities to bring chaos and destruction to its inhabitants. Slay them all, show no mercy. I don't know what that poison does, though. Once everything inside lays in a bloodied heap, pick Gallywix's lockbox, so you need lockpicking, and steal the cache of Zanzil's mixture held inside. Take both the head of Gallywix and the mixture to Shenthul and Orgrimmar. And remember from the journal, you also need gouge, you need backstab, you need ambush, you need all of these things. So you're going to need stealth throughout. You need to use all of your kit, but if you do it correctly, you can like one-shot everything. What have you to report? Poor Fizul, he was a goods agent and one of our best, and alas, it is the price we pay. Being a field agent of the Shattered Hand is dangerous work. You've performed your duty well, thief or rogue. It would be a shame if you did not live to serve us again. So for this one, you only get the Thistle Tea. You do not learn poison yet. So they make you work a little more on the Horde for this. That's a little annoying. The Alliance, boom, you're pretty much done. Yeah, and covering this stuff takes a while. Like, we were already now past the halfway point of this episode, and we have not quite covered all the level 20s. But we'll get there as well as we can. The one we might gloss over is Shaman, and we might be able to cover that quest as we do the actual quest Call of Water on our own. But actually, there's only Horde versions of Call of Water. Okay, so we'll look at that, but it looks like there should be 9 quests in the chain anyway. So what was the other one? Touch of Zanzil Step 1. Yeah, so, or maybe it is only the Alliance one. Oh, the mix and pixel. Okay, so that's not the top one's not the best one. All right, so this is the third step in the human chain. Speak with Doc Mixopixel in the cellar of the barracks. It appears as if you've brought back more information than even I expected. This certainly is a strange turn of events. A cure? Huh. Go down to the cellar and speak with Doc Mixopixel. He may be able to help. It's about time. Just put the cheese on the table and skedaddle. Osborne will pay you on the way out. So they're addressing the fact that you are cursed with something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not a poison. Maybe it's a curse. I think it's a poison, though. Okay, we only need one more point of fishing. All right, so the fourth step would be the next touch of Zanzil. You have to lay down to be examined by Doc Mixopixel. How can he find the cure if he can't find the cause? And you need him to diagnose you. Oh my, you look like death. Correction, I've seen death. You look worse than death. You, sir or miss, would be what death coughed up at his last physical. Ah, you hear that, Norm? Write that, no arm? Write that one down. Yes, in order for me to help you, I'll need to draw some blood. Don't worry, it only hurts the first 50 times or so. Lay down when you're ready for the treatment. When you're ready for the examination, lay down on the ground and I'll begin the phlebotomy. Give me a moment to confer with my colleagues. Dr. Montgomery, Mr. No-Arm, let us conference. Kind of silly. So you go downstairs and let them phlebotomize you. And I'm not sure what the point of all that is. Close to finishing our fishing as well. All right, now the fourth step for the Horde would be Hinot's assistance. So let's take a peeky poo at that quest. No, we need the second. Okay. Travel to Terran Mill and Hillsbrad Foothill and deliver the sample of Zanzil's mixture to Surge Hinot. To get to Terran Mill, take the Zeppelin to the Undercity and follow the road south through Silverpine and toward Hillsbrad. Follow the signs. Okay, so this is also breadcrumbing you out to Hillsbrad. Take a sample of the mixture to Surge Hinot and Terran Mill. If anyone can cure you, it's Surge. Live long enough and Surge will show you the ways of poison creation and use. What's this? You look deliciously pale, Rogue. What is that foul aroma you are giving off? I must know. So this is, for whatever reason, they make you travel out to Terran Mill to gain your poison as a Horde. Whereas as an Alliance, you just get it. Alright, we're done with fishing. Yippee doodah for us. Okay, and then the final Hinot's assistance, the final rogue in this chain. Wait for Surge Hinot to complete the cure. I have never seen such a wondrous results from a poison. Zanzil, you say? Never heard of him. However, I must commend him on the creation of this concoction. So I am to cure you of this and then teach you how to make use of the poison. Give me a few moments to examine the toxin. The cure is ready. Drink this antitoxin, and the creeping madness will stop. However, I will not be able to do anything about the smell. So you learn poisons, and he gives you this potion that cures the touch of Zanzil poison, which I don't even know what that does to you. Okay, meanwhile, the final rogue one at level 20 is the third touch of Zanzil as an alliance. But there you go, you now have... Okay, this is the final step. Bring Doc Mixopixel one bundle of simple wildflowers, one leaded vial, one bronze tube, And one spool of light chartreuse silk thread. The itis doesn't cure itself, young fella or lady. It's unanimous. You've got the itis. Luckily, I have a cure for the itis. Here's what I need. 1 bundle of simple wildflowers, 1 leaded vial, 1 bronze tube, and last, but certainly not least, 1 spool of light chartreuse silk thread. Old Emma left a spool of it for me at the finest thread. You can find the shop along the canals. Hurry along now, and try not to touch anyone until you're cured. Oh, and Dr. Montgomery says you need a shower. His words, not mine. If you want the itis cured, you're going to have to try harder than that. Where are the reagents for the cure? I'm guessing the simple wildflowers you can also buy. Leaded vial you can buy. Bronze tube might be a little bit more annoying to buy. You can usually find them in limited stocks at various shops around the city, but it's definitely more annoying than the other one for sure. And you got to spend money to do it. What am I doing? What does it look like I'm doing? I'm devising a cure for you, for your itis. Don't get indignant with me now. Just a few more seconds. There. Just spray this fantastic smelling liquid on yourself and you'll be good as new. You get the eau de mix de pixel as well. And there. So whatever reason, you have to cure that. But there's no reward for curing it if you're Alliance. And it will wear off over time. It does take, I don't know if it's 1 hour, 3 hours. It does last for a while, but it will eventually wear off if for whatever reason you didn't want to complete that. Although it's probably worth it as far as XP goes. Alright, so now we're going to go down to the cooking area and just cook up whatever fish we can cook. Although we're going to get very little out of this. Okay, so we'll come back to the shaman in a minute. We do have some more quests at level 20 for Warlock and Warrior, as well as looking at what's going to happen for the Shaman at 20. We might not even... There's enough level 20 quests, we might not finish them all even on this one episode. So we might be bringing this into... the next episode as well. Alright, so let's go look at the bottom. Longjaw Mudsnapper. Fought some of those. The brilliant small fish don't matter. They're gray for us. Other than that, we do have some bristle whisker catfish, which we can cook. So we gained 1 point from that. So overall, we're going to gain 4 points. And I don't know if we can learn any new cooking.
Can Zamja help you, person?
Not till 200. So
Bye now.
So let's sell our fish off, and we'll sell that too. All right.
Strength.
So now we'll start looking at the Warlock quest. We'll come back to Shaman at the end. So Warlocks, if you look, there's a decent chain because you're getting your Succubus or Incubus at this level. So I have it listed like this, all spread out, but I think it's a little different. So Galkin's summons, there are actually 2. We're going to start with that one. Galkin's summons. Am I spelling that wrong? Probably. Maybe if I look. No, so I have to actually look this one up. Online. Gakin's or Gakin's summons, so there's no L. I gotta fix that. Okay. So we want the one that is not level 10. We want the next we want this one. We want the level 20 version. So this is the Alliance version. It says report to Gakin or Gakin, the Darkbinder in the Mage Quarter of Stormwind, because remember, there is no Warlock trainer in Darnassus. So if you happen to be an Ironforge instead of Stormwind, you would get this breadcrumb to start us there. I didn't expect to see you around these parts, but I was instructed to keep an eye out for you. It's past time you got some more training, so you should stop in to see Gakin. Gakin, the next time you're in Stormwind, he'll be waiting for you. I'm glad someone was able to get a hold of you. I was beginning to fear the worst. It would be a shame to lose you after the time we've invested in you. We can talk later, though. Your training is the only important thing now. So if you happen to be in Ironforge, you can get that breadcrumb. You'll avoid that little pinch of XP if you're not. Alright, so skinning and leatherworking. I don't believe that we have anything for skinning, but we did skin a lot, so maybe skinning is open. Let's take a peek. There's got to be a skinning trade. There we go.
Strength and
Okay,
honor.
125. We're obviously not at 125 yet. I thought maybe we would be. We're at 121. Can you believe that? Okay, so the next step is called... whoa. I gotta go back up here. Devourer of Souls. So we're gonna look at this one. So when you get to a Stormwind, he says, a Sayad is a devourer of souls, dominator of wills, and tempter of hearts. It knows nothing but evil. Salacious tales refer to the demon by its common name, succubus for females, incubus for males. A stimulus is required to beckon the creature. With a symbol of love as bait, it will surely answer your call. Defeat it and make it your tool. It will be hard to find a thing of this nature, though. You should speak with Takar the Seer. You will find him in the Barrens of Kalimdor, near Camp Durajo. Was your crossing difficult? You have come a long way to speak with me, but fear not. I know why Gakken has sent you, and he was wise to, for I can help you in your search. So you have to go down near Camp Durajo, even though you are Alliance. Okay, so now we're gonna take a peek here. First thing, let's craft a few pieces of light leather from that while we look. Okay, so then the next one is called either Heartswood, Blind Kazul, or Hearts of the Pure. So they can all happen at the same time. So Heartswood wants you to retrieve Heartswood from Ashenvale and bring it to Gakken the Darkbinder in the Mage Quarter of Stormwind. In preparation for your coming, I used my sight to look over the world, and through the mists of time, I found what it is you seek. In the War of the Ancients, two lovers fell together in battle. When they took their last breaths, a tree known as the Heartswood grew, a symbol of their undying love. That should be enough to tempt a succubus. You'll find it in the ruins of Ordil Aran in the northwestern part of the forest of Ashenville. Was your search a success? You can yes, I can tell this will do nicely. Let me just work with it for a moment. Takar is a resourceful fellow to have around, isn't he? If only I could persuade him to move back to civilization. Now, for whatever reason, I have that Blind Kazul and Hearts of the Pure listed separately. And maybe, I don't know why. I think that because they open up at the same time. So, if we look at this Blind Kazul quest, because one of these, that one's sending you for Succubus, but you could also instead go down the Incubus path. This is the Horde version. So I kind of have it mixed up a little bit differently. So it's really, yeah, so this has to be shaped a little differently. Blind Kazul should be right here. I need to kind of reshape this. And then Hearts of the Pure is probably right here, because these are the Horde versions of that. And then I have this News of Doggrant. Yeah, it's kind of actually, never mind. I'll just take that off. Because what's happening is we're starting the Blind Kazul questline right here. So if you were a Horde, it would begin with the Horde version of Devourer of Souls. I see, that's why I have it called that right there, because the Horde is called the same thing. So if you speak with Godric Farson in the Temple of the Damned, so this is, and it unlocks Blind Kazul and Hearts of the Pure. I see. So a Sayad is a devourer of souls, dominator of wills, tempter of hearts, a creature of profound evil and singular mind. Folk tales told by righteous and wicked alike use their common names, succubus for females, incubus for males. The demon must be lured into the world with a stimulus, the hearts of pure and loving mortals. The Sayad will be unable to resist, then you can dominate it and make it your own. Speak with my assistant Godric Farzan within the temple. He will help you find your bait. You were sent by Corendon, and do not think light of me because my sight is gone. I see things that lie behind now. With clarity I had never known. What I once thought a curse is now a boon. This would disable the breadcrumb line, I guess. To speak with Kazul in the Cleft of Shadow. The time has come for you to learn more of the summoning magic. You'll learn to summon a Siyad, a creature of incredible mental powers. It can lull those of weak minds into its servitude, but have no fear. I feel certain that you'll be equal to the challenge. A Siyad can only be summoned when baited with an item that represents great devotion and love. I leave it to you to find such an object. A suggestion, speak with Kazul. There seems to be a little the ancient warlock does not know. Huh. You are still new to your path, but I sense the possibility for greatness in you. You were born with gifts. See that they do not go to waste. Okay, so we kind of have these parallel paths here. Now this opens up Blind Kazul and Hearts of the Pure. So speak to Zankaja in Orgrimmar. If Ganrul has sent you to me, he starts this series out. It must be that you are able to summon a succubus, a female of the Siyad race, and need an object to use for enticement. If you trust a blind man to lead you, then listen. In the bluffs of Orgrimmar, west of the Windrider Tower, lives Zankaja. She waits for the return of her mate. Go to her. Have you come with news of Dogran? He was to have returned days ago, and I've heard nothing. So you go over and find her. Whereas, you could also instead pick up Hearts of the Pure. So maybe something similar. Coaxing. So this is the Forsaken version of the same quest line. So I guess with the Alliance, they send you into Stormwind to filter the quest this way. But what makes this change so kind of confusing the track is if you're Horde, you can complete a Forsaken or Orgrimmar version, and there's the Succubus and Incubus versions. So this one wants you to bring the hearts of Dalen Forgeright and Korma Villard to Corendon Halger in the Temple of the Damned. Coaxing a succubus will require the hearts of the pure, but is any mortal without vice. Through bits of overheard stories, I found 2 humans that should do. This is the one we did on camera earlier in this show. Through bits of overheard stories, I found 2 humans that should do. The first is Dalen Forgeright, who has dedicated himself to the care of the Lordaeron refugees, whom are refused by their kin at the Greymane Wall. The other is Korma Villard, a woman who remains faithful to her lost love, wandering the wetlands for a sign of her. Deliver their hearts to Corendon, but first let me show you your quarry. Yes, this is extremely annoying because you have to travel down to the Greymane Wall and to the bridge near the wetlands to get these 2 hearts. I have been pleasantly surprised by the speed of your progress so far. Bring me the hearts and you will impress me once again. The heart of a goodly man seems much the same as any when you see it like this, don't you think? Perhaps we possess something of a different view on the subject. These will do, though. I have no doubt that a succubus would be attracted by their purity. So that kind of gets us there, but we're going to now look back at the news of Dogran, which is the other. If you start the Blind Kazul path in Orgrimmar, you'll continue this chain instead. First, let's build a little bit. Let's see what we have here. I think. Look at leatherworking.
I have nothing more to teach you. Talk to Karalek if you wish to further your leatherworking skills.
We need leatherworking supplies. Okay, so I think we learned. What did we learn? Something that was 3. These gloves that are 3 for 2. Okay, and then we need 3 sets of them. Okay, so we're gonna create all those. My goal is to at least get us to the Warlock questline, and then we will we'll probably continue. We'll do Call of Water, and we'll do the Warrior stuff on the next episode, just because there's that many. Okay, so that's good. Let's train from the Journeyman. We'll take a little break in between just to.
I have nothing more to teach you.
So
Talk
embossed
to
leather
Karalek if you wish
cloak.
to further your leatherworking skills.
What does that give us? That's 5. Is it better than what we have? Probably not. 12. So it'll still be the gloves we need for the next chain. All right. So for this one, we have News of Dogran 1, News of Dogran 2. We can kind of take a peek here. All right. So if you went down the succubus path as a as an orc. It said, my mate Dogrin was recently sent to the crossroads for duty. It was a promotion, and he was very proud. I was sad, of course, but I didn't let him know that, and worried too. The Barrens is a more dangerous place than Orgrimmar, and I feared the worst. Now it's been a week after he should have arrived, and I've received no word from him. Perhaps you could go to the crossroads and see if they have any news. He worked with Gazrog, who should still be stationed there. Zankaja? That's Dogrin's mate, right? Yeah, I've heard from him, but it's not the sort of news we should let get back to her. So you have to go to the crossroads, not a big deal. No, he's not dead, but he is injured and a prisoner of the Quillbore. So you could do the second step. They want you to speak with Ken Zigla at the Malakajin. He was stationed, so that's in Stone Talon Mountains, which is just past the border. Again, this is not too bad compared to what the Forsaken have to do. He was stationed at Camp Tarajo, where we've been trying to weed out the Quillbore. He led a few grunts to one of their camps where he was hurt bad. The others made it back and tried to rescue him. He was in bad shape. His wounds festered, so they were afraid to move him without patching him up first. They sent a message here requesting a healing draught from the trolls at the Malakajin at the base of the Stone Talon Mountains. We sent someone to get it, but they haven't returned yet. Another orc, I hope you haven't come for the other. He didn't make it. Those goblins did him in good. He said he needed a healing draught, but not much else. Okay, so Ken Zigla's draught and then Dogrin's captivity. So this is just a chain we're following. Again, only if you take the orc path of warlockness. So we need to bring Ken Zigla's draught to Grunt Logmar at Camp Tarajo. I figured there might be another coming to get the draught, so I prepared it anyway. Here you go. Mind you, you should only give half of it to him. This will give him enough strength to move without bleeding himself dry. Wait a night, then give him the other half. Anyways, you want to bring this to Logmar at Camp Tarajo. From what the first one told me, he should have an idea of where Dogrin is. So now you're going back out and then down to Camp Tarajo. So just moving around, but still nothing hard on this. Yes, what is it? Well, it's about time. Dogrin's been dying out there waiting for this. We need to get him out right away, but most of the grunts stationed here are out on a foraging mission. So his captivity. Bring the draught to Dogrin in the Barrens. So you're bringing it up. He's kind of in the middle by the Quillbore. You've made it this far, so if you want to see it through to the end, I won't stop you. I can't spare you any additional manpower, though. You'll be on your own. Dogrin is being held in a Quillbore camp to the north of here. Look for a group of 2 huts. He'll be heavily guarded, that is, if they haven't killed him yet, or he hasn't succumbed to his wounds. Good luck. Ugh. Foul-tasting brew. I can feel the strength in me now, enough to hobble away, but my leg, I will have lost it for the rest of my life. My arm, too. Well, that's a bummer. So then that takes you to Love's Gift, which then leads into the Binding. Now, the Binding is across the board. I think that's what it's called. So, you bring the Dirt Cake Pendant to Ganrel Bloodeye and Orgrimmar. Zankaja is young and beautiful. To be chained to an invalid, I will not allow her to suffer that injustice. Leave me, and thank you. I may end my life in glorious battle instead of a lifeless husk. And please, I would ask you not to tell my maid of this. I do not want guilt on her conscience. You've returned. Are you ready to battle a succubus? So, I guess this pendant is the gift we need. You're not actually going to give it to the woman. If you tell me that this will suffice, then I trust you. Allow me to clean it, though. Pristine and shining, it may be even more enticing to a succubus. So the Forsaken get hearts of pure lovers. The Horde get this. The orcs get this tragic pendant. That will get you the binding of a succubus. We'll go back and look at the. Oops, I accidentally clicked on the stupid basketball. Now there are binding, it says there's more, and I believe the binding is something that can come from the alliance as well. We'll have to go back and take a peek at one of these things. Yeah, so the Heartswood opens up the binding. So we have 2 versions of this. After you get the Heartswood, you just boom. So it's easier in that sense. All you need to do is get the Heartswood. You don't have to do this complicated chain or 2 things. So it's easiest as an alliance to get a succubus. But before we read about the binding, let's build ourselves 5 more gloves. coarse thread, right? 1. So we need 10 coarse thread. Make all of these. This will get us up to 65 leatherworking. So Silver Pine's doing us nice. It's treating us right. All right, so we're right at about time. But like I said, I want to at least finish the Warlock chains. This is why it takes so long, because we are wrapping up the chains for the Succubus, but there's a whole other chain for all of these things tied to the Incubus. So that's why this is such a tough one. Alright, so we need to level up because we're still building crap white gear. With,
I have nothing more to teach you.
She
Talk to
says that she
Karalek
has
if you
nothing
wish
more.
to
Oh,
further
great.
your leatherworking skills.
So we do. We need to straight up do 10 leather gloves. So you need to have a total of 30 leather to get from 60 to 70 to even get a different recipe. That's a little lame. But at least it stays orange. What else do we have? Yeah, because the ammo pouch drops, so you need those gloves at some point. I think the Kodo hide bag, if you get enough Kodo skin, you can use that. I think it's only 3, but it might be 4. Okay, so we are... Yeah, we don't have anything cool yet. I think 90. We have a 90, a 95, and a 100, so we're not there. We're only at 70.
I have nothing more to teach you.
Okay, so
Talk to Karalek if you
now
wish
we
to
can learn
further
the
your leatherworking
bracers.
skills.
Which that's 6. That's 6. So we're still making gloves from 70 to 75. We'll do that in a minute. Alright, so we'll look at the Alliance binding. Using the Heartswood core, you will be able to cast a spell at the summoning circle in the crypt below to open a portal for the Succubus to pass through. Be careful. Succubi have overrun even the strongest of minds. Once you've bested and returned it to the void, return to me and I'll show you how to call and control it. Sometimes I wonder if Serena was not a succubus in disguise sent to warp and twist my mind. Ha! I give her too much credit, I think. Well done, well done. I see we've done right in deciding to train you. Your performance certainly does not disappoint. I have no qualms in showing you the way to control your newly bound succubus. Observe carefully. So not only you get, first of all, you get the succubus, which, whatever, it's debatable whether or not you like the succubus. It's my understanding that the succubus is, I mean, I don't love using them. They do good DPS, but they're melee DPS. They do stealth. They also do like a stun. So they can do a hard stun, which is whatever. But more importantly, you get the small soul pouch, which is good. It's kind of lame, kind of like a hunter. You're tying one of your bag slots into needing soul shards. So hunters, warlocks, and to a lesser extent, shaman really have a disadvantage with bag space. It's just not fair, and I'm glad they changed that. Okay, whereas if we do the binding from the horde side, you would get, using Dahlgren's pendant, summon and subdue a succubus. Take this to the summoning circle in Niru's tent, summon forth a foul succubus, then show it your mastery. I believe in the strength of your magic. As always, though, be wary, for pride and overconfidence has overcome many a promising warlock. When you've defeated it, return the pendant to me so I might deliver the news to Zankaja. When I look upon a succubus, my heart begins to soar, but at the same time, I can almost sense my soul's ebb drifting away like the tides. Be wary, my friend. Success. Be sure I expected nothing less from my star pupil. You've proven your worth, and gladly will I show you the method of summoning your subdued succubus. Go now, you've much to learn, and when next I see you, I will expect to have found true mastery over your succubus. Leave the sorrow of Dogrun and Zankaja to those of us who are longer in years, but remember it, and hold it as protection against the wiles of the dark power you've learned to summon today. Okay, and then let's look at the Forsaken version of the same thing. Because, of course, they have their own. Yikes. Okay, which one was that? I think that was called Devourer of Souls. So the yeah, this Hearts of the Pure that leads to the binding. It's a shorter chain, but it actually has you traveling. I'd say it's actually the most annoying one to do, even though it's shorter. But then, yeah. So, using these hearts, cast a spell at the summoning circle to open a doorway for the succubus to come through. Your powers are greater now, and you'll need all of them to defeat the succubus. Beware its charms. Many a strong mind has been bound to its will. When overcome, the succubus will be returned to the void, and I will teach you the spell to summon it forth at your command. Oft, of the powers from beyond the void, the succubus is one of the most dangerous, as the weak are most easily wrapped around its fingers. Remember that now, and in the future. Again, you've done well. It has been quite some time since I've seen a young warlock with as much potential as you. Be assured that I will continue to watch your progress and prepare and assist you in your future trials. For now, let me show you the summoning spell for your dominated succubus. Now, you can also do the incubus quest chain. It will grant you a second small pouch. And it will also gain you the incubus, which we'll talk a little bit about that next time. I actually think we're going to wrap it here. We're going to pick up this other chain, Orb of Saranruk, Love Hurts, this part of it, and a third binding version. We're going to pick that all up next time. We'll also cover all of the warrior quests next time. We'll discuss any class differences that lead us on Call of Water next time. And then we will finish up in Orgrimmar and start completing that actual quest in person. All of that next time. So today was a catch-up with all of the class blah, blah, blah. Also, we need a talent. We're going to learn two-handed axes and maces. So that's great. We have that now. I love it. If we find a two-handed mace or axe, we can upgrade, which will be cool. But now we've got another episode in the pipe, 5x5. I thank everybody so much for watching and for listening. And I will see you all next time on Lore of Warcraft.